So I decided to do a little update video, what's been happening in the last several months. I haven't really been making many videos or doing much of anything for YouTube, just because I've been kind of busy with some things kind of unexpected, really awesome things, all music related. Well, I shouldn't say all, I do have a day job, but anyway, late 2023, the vocalist of 72 Legions decided to leave the band, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. I immediately reached out to a couple of vocalists that I knew, and they pretty much said no right away, because one of the requirements is that you have to be willing to tour. Not everybody's willing or able to do that. Completely understandable. So when we didn't really have any prospects, I started thinking, well, I have done vocals in the past. I never thought I was like a great vocalist or anything, but I did think that if I put some time and effort into it, I could be good at it. And so I kind of threw it out there to the guys in 72 Legions. I just said, hey, if you'd rather search for a bass player, because I was playing bass in the band. I was brought in to play bass in the band. I played bass for 2 years in the band. So I said, if you'd rather search for a bass player, I plan on continuing with 72 Legions. So it would probably be better to have a constant frontman, face of the band, than to keep switching out singers. So maybe I can move into the vocal position and we'll get a new bass player. So after we thought about that a little bit, we decided to move forward with that. It was a little rough for me at first. I had not done vocals in years, and I did actually play guitar and do vocals in a band many, like 20 years ago. And then when in my old band Ton, I was doing backup vocals, but that's different than being a full-time vocalist. So it had been years, and so I really had to knock the dust off the old vocal cords. So I started practicing my ass off, learning the lyrics, trying to get my vocals into shape. And just after a very short time of doing that, we got the offer to go on tour with Cryptopsy, Atheist and Almost Dead in Europe, the UK, and Ireland for 2 weeks. So the obvious answer was yes, immediately. Figure out how we're going to pull it off later. So we said yes. And the excitement, I was so excited. I was like, I have wanted to go to Europe to play metal for so long, and I came really close once and it fell through. So it's like, man, this is my chance, you know, this is going to be awesome. But there was also this thing in the back of my head of, how am I going to be a front man, a vocalist for a band on tour in Europe, opening for 2 legendary bands? And right after we got the news and we said yes, actually after we got the news that we actually got the tour, after we had said yes, I remember just being very excited, a lot of things going through my head. And so I came down to where my recording setup is down here, where I practice, and I started practicing vocals. And I had a horrible practice session. There was just too much in my head. I just wasn't executing the vocals like how I wanted to, and the panic like set in. I was like, oh shit. I committed to doing this. Can I do this? I kept going back and forth between can I do this and yes, I can do this. And so I called up our guitar player, Curran, kind of in a panic, like, oh fuck man, you know, and then after I calmed down a little bit, I got back on the mic and I was like, okay, I definitely have some work to do. I am not ready now, but I can do this, and I'm gonna do this. And so I just continued to just practice my ass off. So, you know, fast forward through that period of time to the actual tour. It was a blast, man. I mean, it was a dream come true to go to Europe. UK, Ireland, I mean, these are places I didn't know if I'd ever see in my lifetime. And to be honest, I never really had a desire to go there as a tourist, even though I think it would be awesome. I always had in the back of my mind, I wanted to go there to play metal. I never imagined it would be as a vocalist, because as you know, if you follow me at all, I'm a guitar player. But I also looked at it as like just an opportunity to have a really good time. I could get up on stage. I didn't have to play an instrument. I'm just going to be doing vocals, interacting with the crowd. And it was a blast, man. All the bands on the tour, everybody was super cool. Everybody worked together. I mean, day in, day out, loading, unloading. there were a lot of us, so loading in, loading out went pretty quickly, but it was a bit of a grind. We were on a bus, which was really fucking cool. It was an enormous bus, lounge downstairs, just tons of bunks upstairs where everybody slept. And so in that way, it was easy that we didn't have to drive or anything. We just get on the bus and get in your bunk, and then you show up to the next venue the next day, which was awesome. But you have to be ready for load in. They rally everybody up. Let's do it. We haul it all in. The whole process starts. You load in. Cryptopsy setting up, sound check. Atheist setting up, sound check. Almost Dead, and then it'd be our turn to sound check. And so you go through that process every day. I was the main person running our merch, so I'd set the merch up. I spent the majority of my time behind the merch booth during the shows, which was cool. I got to interact with people, people that didn't even know who we were. Because this tour got announced before we were added to it, a lot of these venues didn't even update their flyers or anything. So some of these shows, we would show up and play, and people didn't even know we were supposed to be there, because they create an event page or post a flyer, and we weren't on it. And then when we got added, some of these places didn't update. Some of them did, which was cool. So some people got a chance to check us out ahead of time, and they would tell us, I hadn't heard of you guys, but I checked you out when I heard you got added. And then there would be other times we would play and people would come up to the merch booth and be like, I didn't even know who you guys were or that you were supposed to be on this show, but I really enjoyed the show. And so it was awesome. We sold a good amount of merch. We sold a lot of CDs, which was really cool. And overall, man, it was a great time. All the guys in the other bands were awesome. I didn't see anybody arguing, fighting, or getting upset with anybody. Everybody worked together. Everybody did what they had to do to make every show go off and be a success. And everybody was super, super cool. I mean, I can't stress that enough. There were 23 guys on the bus. There were 2 bus drivers, a tour manager, a crew guy who was also a light guy, and then all the bands. So that's a lot of people to put in a confined space every day, and it was awesome. The Netherlands might have been my favorite place, and I think it just had to do with when we showed up at the Dynamo, or not at the Dynamo, at Floor, I think it was called. It was just a beautiful day. It was sunny. It was warm enough that you just walk around in a sweatshirt, and we explored the town, had lunch outside. It was just really, really cool. And then from there we went to the Dynamo in Netherlands. It was a little drizzly that day, but it was still cool. All these towns are very cool. All the old architecture. It was just really a blast. So yeah, that was a complete success. And after getting back, we did have a couple of short tours lined up for this summer that we ended up canceling because our rhythm guitar player decided to leave the band. Just personal reasons, no bad blood, nothing. Any of the 2 guys that have left the band, it's not been anything negative or anything. It's just, once you go on tour, you realize it's a commitment, and it's hard to leave home. It's hard to leave your job, to go out, not make any money, all that stuff. But we do want to continue with this. And so the plan was, when we got back, I was going to continue to play bass and do the vocals. Then when our rhythm guitar player left the band, I thought, well, I'm not going to keep playing bass. I'm a guitar player. If I can play bass and do vocals, why can't I play guitar and do vocals? I have done it before. It was a long time ago. It's going to take a lot of work, but I'm used to doing that and committed to doing that. So now I'm moving into the guitar/vocal position. So we do have some things in the works for later in the summer, later in the year, but for the time being, I'm working on that. Our guitar player Curran just did his first show with Venom Inc., filling in for Mantis. He's also going to do some more shows with them. Our drummer Colton is going to Puerto Rico with Inhuman Condition, playing drums for them. So, those guys have things going on. I'm working on this here. I'm going to try and work on some more YouTube content type stuff, and just keep on keeping on, keep moving forward. I'm going to throw up a few clips of 72 Legions live overseas. We had a blast. The shows were great. The people were super cool. The response was great. We had to play early every night, so we were all super appreciative when people came out early to check us out, because I know how it goes. Sometimes people are like, oh, I don't know who the opening band is, I don't care, or never heard of them, don't care, they're just the opening band, so why care? But we had a really good response at pretty much all the shows. Obviously some were better than others, but it was all good, all positive, and the whole experience was amazing. And just shout out to all those guys in those bands, and Matt McGackie, for every time he saw me without a beer in my hand, he just gave me this disappointed look, like he was disappointed in me. That was kind of funny. But yeah, everybody was great. It was a blast.